My wife stared me down, her eyes like daggers, and hissed, "You're not his father, Tom. Stop acting like you are." The words hit like a blindside tackle, knocking the wind out of me. I didn't yell back, didn't beg. I just gave her a tight nod, my jaw clenched, and said, "Fine, Sarah. I'm done. My name's Tom. I'm 46, a high school football coach in a small Indiana town, the kind where Friday night lights are religion. For 20 years, I've been drawing plays in the dirt, screaming at kids to hit harder, run faster. It's not a job that gets you rich, but it's honest. You build something real kids who learn to fight for more than just a scoreboard. By 35, I'd saved enough to buy a brick ranch house. No mortgage, just a patch of land with a sagging porch I fixed up myself. My life was steady, predictable, until I met Sarah at a county fair, her smile bright as the Ferris wheel lights, her hand clutching her 10-year-old son, Ethan. Sarah was 32, a single mom fresh off a messy divorce. Ethan's dad, Greg, was a deadbeat who'd bailed when Ethan was 5, leaving nothing but a trail of empty beer cans and broken promises. Sarah was scraping by, working as a dental hygienist, driving a beat-up Chevy Malibu that rattled like it was on its last leg. Ethan was quiet, scrawny, with a mop of brown hair and eyes that darted like he was waiting for the world to disappoint him. He clung to a worn football at the fair, tossing it up and catching it, his focus intense. "Kid's got an arm," I said to Sarah, half joking. She laughed, but her eyes were tired. "He's obsessed. Watches every NFL game. Knows every play." I crouched down, meeting Ethan's gaze. "What's your team, bud?" He mumbled, "Colts." Barely looking at me, I grinned. "Good choice. Peyton Manning's a legend." We started dating, and I fell hard. Sarah was tough, funny, with a warmth that made you feel like home. Ethan was trickier. He'd watch me from across the room, sizing me up, his football never far from his hands. 6 months in, something shifted. Sarah got stuck at work during a storm, and Ethan's school called Meme, not her sister, not her mom. "You're on his emergency list," the secretary said. My chest tightened. I drove through pouring rain, found Ethan in the nurse's office, his knee scraped raw from a fall on the playground. "Hey, champ," I said, kneeling beside him. "Rough game out there?" He smirked, just a flicker, and let me clean him up. On the drive home, he clutched his football, whispering, "Thanks, Tom." That night, as I tucked him in, he grabbed my hand. "Can you teach me to throw a spiral?" My throat caught. "You bet." That moment changed everything. I hadn't planned on kids coaching was my outlet, but Ethan became mine. I taught him to grip the ball, to plant his feet, to fire a pass like a bullet. By 11, he called me Dad, the word slipping out during a backyard catch session. I froze, heart pounding. Sarah overheard, her eyes soft. "He's been asking if you're staying for good," she said. "He's ready." We got married when Ethan was 12, a small ceremony at the town park. Ethan insisted on carrying the rings, his Colts jersey peeking out under his button-up. "It's my wedding too," he said, grinning. The crowd chuckled, but to me, it was gospel. Ethan wasn't just Sarah's kid. He was my son. The years that followed were golden. Saturday mornings were ours, Ethan and me at the field, running drills, him mimicking my calls like a mini-coach. "Dad, can we try the flea flicker?" He'd ask, eyes bright. We'd stay out until dusk. Grass stains on his jeans, my voice hoarse from shouting. I started a college fund, socking away every extra dollar from my coaching stipend and side gigs fixing plays for local teams. By the time Ethan was 15, we had $25,000 saved. My players teased me, calling me Saint Tom, for raising another man's kid. I hated that. Ethan wasn't another man's. He was mine. Then high school hit, and the ground shifted. Ethan joined the varsity team, a freshman phenom with a rocket arm. Scouts whispered about him, and his confidence swelled too fast. He stopped calling me Dad, switching to Tom in a casual tone that stung like a slap. Started small, in the kitchen one night. "Yo, Tom, pass the ketchup," he said, eyes glued to his phone. I blinked, gut twisting. "Sure," I said, sliding the bottle over, waiting for him to look up. He didn't. Sarah laughed it off. "He's just being a teenager, Tom. Don't take it personal." But it wasn't just a phase. It snowballed. Ethan wanted everything to $100 cleats, a new phone, a custom playbook app his teammates had. When I pushed back, saying we couldn't afford it all, he'd roll his eyes. "Whatever, Tom. You're cheap. Sarah always stepped in. He's got big dreams. Tom. Let him have this. I started tracking the costs hundreds a month. Not counting his gear, camps, or the fund I was still building. In return, I got grunts, eye-rolls, silence. At games, he'd shine, throwing 40-yard passes like it was nothing. But off the field, I was invisible. Once, at a team dinner, he turned to Sarah and said, "Can Tom cover my new gloves? Everyone's got them." Like I was just the bank. I pulled him aside later, voice low. "Ethan, why Tom? I'm your dad." He shrugged. "You know what I mean." I wanted to shake him, to scream that words matter, but I just stood there, gutted. The tension built like a storm. One night, I caught him sneaking out to a party after I'd grounded him for skipping practice. "Where you going?" I asked, blocking the door. He smirked. "Out. You're not my coach here, Tom." I grabbed his shoulder. Not hard, just firm. "You live in my house, Ethan. My rules." He jerked away. "Your house? You're not my dad." That cut deeper than I'd ever admit. I let him go, but the words festered. The breaking point came at his 17th birthday. I'd saved for months to get him a used Ford F-150, perfect for a kid who'd just got his license. Safe, reliable, a truck he could haul his gear in. I wrapped the keys in a box, made it a big deal. When he saw the truck, his face fell. "A pickup? Seriously?" Jake's stepdad got him a Mustang. I swallowed hard, keeping calm. "Ethan, this is a good truck. It'll last you." He crossed his arms. "My real dad would have got me something better." That hit like a cheap shot. "Your real dad?" I said, voice tight. "The guy who hasn't called since you were 5? That dad?" He smirked, like the truth was irrelevant. "Whatever, Tom." Those words burned. I'd spent years being his father, coaching him, cheering him, saving for his future, and he threw it back in my face. But I held it together. For Sarah. For the family we'd built. Then came the state championship. Ethan was a junior, the star quarterback, leading our team to a 42-17 blowout. Scouts from Ohio State and Michigan were there, whispering about scholarships. After the game, a local reporter shoved a mic in Ethan's face. "Who's been your biggest influence?" she asked. Ethan grinned, high on victory. "My mom. She's always believed in me. And my real dad is out there somewhere, probably proud." The crowd chuckled. I stood on the sideline, playbook in hand, feeling like I'd been erased. Not a word about me, the guy who'd taught him every play, who'd driven him to every camp, who'd believed in him when he doubted himself. That night, Sarah tried to smooth it over. "He's just caught up in the moment, Tom." He didn't mean it. But I saw it in her eyes. She knew it was deeper. Ethan didn't see me as his dad anymore. I was just the guy who paid for stuff. The final straw came at a team barbecue. The whole town packed into our backyard. Burgers sizzling, music blaring. Ethan was holding court, joking with his teammates, when a parent asked about his college plans. I chimed in, proud. "We've got enough saved for Ethan to go to a state school." He said. Ethan froze, then laughed, loud and sharp. "State school? Nah, I'm going to USC. Mom and I already decided." My stomach dropped. "USC? That was news to me." "That's great, Ethan," I said, voice steady. "But we need to talk costs. The fund won't cover a private school." He slammed his soda down, eyes blazing. "You're so cheap, Tom. Always making me feel bad about money. Maybe you shouldn't have married a mom if you can't handle it." The yard went quiet. My players, their parents, my friends all staring. Then Ethan dropped the bomb. "You're not my dad. You're just some guy." My hands shook, but I kept my voice low. "Some guy? The one who paid for your camps, your gear, your dreams?" He scoffed, unfazed. Sarah stepped in, her voice sharp. "You're not his father, Tom. Stop acting like you are." The air vanished. My friend's pitying looks burned worse than the words. I didn't yell. I just nodded and said, "Fine, Sarah. I'm done." But inside, I was breaking. The next day, I overheard Ethan on the phone, laughing with a friend. "Yeah, Tom's freaking out about money again. He's not my dad. So why's he acting like it? I'll get USC anyway." That was it. I saw red, not just anger, but betrayal. Years of love, of sacrifice, thrown away. I went to the bank that afternoon, emptied Ethan's college fund every cent and moved it to my savings. Then I called my lawyer and filed for divorce. Sarah was blindsided, tears streaming as she grabbed my arm. "Tom, you can't do this." Think of Ethan. He needs you. I shook my head. No, Sarah. He needs a bank account. And you need a doormat. That's not me anymore. Ethan stormed in, furious. You can't do this. We're family. His voice cracked, but I was done. Family? I said, cold. You said I'm not your dad. Just some guy. So go find your real dad. Ethan. I'm out. Sarah begged, her voice breaking. I should have handled it better. Tom. I'm sorry. But it was too late. The trust was gone. Shredded by years of disrespect. I moved out, sold the house, and threw myself into coaching. My team became my family. Kids who listened, who fought for every yard. I bought a small cabin by Lake Michigan, where the waves drowned out the noise of my past. No arguments, no eye rolls, just quiet. 5 years later, a knock woke me from a nap. I opened the door to find Sarah and Ethan. Sarah looked worn, her hair streaked with gray, clutching a purse like it was all she had. Ethan was taller, gaunt, his eyes hollow. Tom, Sarah said, voice trembling. We need help. The money's gone. The car's repossessed. Ethan dropped out of college. I remarried, but it fell apart. We've got nowhere else to turn. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. What do you want me to do, Sarah? Fix your mess? My eyes shifted to Ethan. He wouldn't meet my gaze. I saw the kid who'd thrown spirals in the backyard, who'd called me dad. Then the teenager who'd called me some guy. You were right, Ethan. I said, voice like steel. I'm not your dad. He flinched, lips trembling, but stayed silent. I closed the door, the sound final. The next morning, my phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. Tom, please, he's still your son. I didn't reply. Then my assistant coach, Mike, called, chuckling. You're viral, man. Sarah's blasting you online. I checked. A Facebook post with a photo of Ethan at 12, holding a trophy, me grinning beside him. Caption. He raised my son for years, then abandoned us when we needed him. The comments were brutal. Some called me a monster. Others demanded answers. I had proof, though. Receipts for Ethan's camps, his gear, his phone bills, screenshots of texts where he demanded new cleats, a laptop, $300 headphones. I made a video, calm and clear, laying it all out: how Ethan called me some guy, how Sarah told me I wasn't his father, how I was disrespected in my own home. Posted it, and it spread like wildfire. Thousands of comments called out their entitlement, their manipulation. Sarah deleted her post, but the internet doesn't forget. Word got around. Sarah lost her job at the dental office. Ethan dropped out of USC after 1 year, drowning in loans. They were crashing with a cousin, barely scraping by. Mike said Ethan was washing dishes at a diner, looking like a shadow of the kid who'd thrown touchdowns. I didn't gloat. I just felt empty. Months later, at a fundraiser for the high school field, Sarah showed up uninvited, Ethan trailing behind. The crowd hushed as she marched toward me, voice loud. Tom, you owe us. You walked away from your family. Ethan stood silent, eyes down. I didn't flinch. Owe you? I said, my voice carrying. I gave you a home, Sarah. I gave Ethan a father. You both threw it away. I turned to the crowd. She told me I wasn't his father. He called me some guy. So I left. That's what they wanted. The silence was heavy. Sarah's face crumpled. Ethan's head snapped up, eyes wide with guilt or shame. She tried again. Softer. Tom. Ethan's struggling. He needs you. I stepped closer, voice low. He needed me when he was 10, Sarah. When he called me dad. You let him forget that. You don't get to rewrite it now. I turned to Ethan. You made your choice. Live with it. I walked away, the crowd parting, their eyes on me, not them. 1 year later, I saw Ethan one last time, outside a hardware store. He was across the street, bussing tables at a diner, his apron stained, his face etched with exhaustion. Our eyes met through the window. I saw the kid who'd begged me to teach him a spiral, who'd hugged me after his first touchdown. Then the teenager who'd erased me. He froze, tray in hand, like he wanted to say something, sorry, maybe, or help. I waited, heart pounding, for him to cross the street, to bridge the gap. He didn't. He just stood there, trapped behind that glass. I gave him a nod, distant, and walked away. He was right all those years ago. I wasn't his dad. I was the man who chose to be, and he chose to reject it. I never looked back.